Thank you, Chris, for that nice introduction, and Stefan for having me here. My first time outside WA presenting in Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney, so I'm doing something uncomfortable because I always have a familiar faces in Western Australia. And here I'm outside WA, so another country, as you know, different time zone. And not only I'm in the different time zone and different country, but I'm among the best of the best in the world. There are some amazing speakers who have come here around the world. And these speakers are highly talented, doing amazing job out there, and I'm put amongst them. And last night I was playing D&D, Reagan Dungeon Reagan something. And I was the most clueless member of the crew there. And I was a skeleton, which was, I don't know what character I was playing, but I was completely clueless. So I'm among the most techiest people and the less techie person out there. Yeah. So you can see how uncomfortable it can be, but it's most enriching because I'm learning so much from amazing these people and attending their conferences and having a great time. So thank you, YOW, for bringing me out, and then Chris for the kind introduction. I want to start by acknowledging all of you in the room that I see you as a new gods, which is changing the world out there. You are creating a digital world. The world we know, we experience here is a physical, but the one digital world is what you are creating something out there. And you have an immense power in your hand. Any little code you design, any little systems you create, sometimes we don't realize that how much impact it has in the peoples out there in the community, in the lives. We could go on by so many examples of how amazing things has happened when people have come up with the new solutions and new technology and how it has impacted the entire population or some population. So I think the power you have in your hand is very immense, and you need to be careful or at least be aware of the power you have. And I want to start by giving example of what other things could happen in terms of digital exclusion or inclusion. Now today I'll be coming up with few examples from my own personal life story and also the business which I am part of. It's not a product placement, it's not about my business, it's not about the product which we have designed or anything, but I'm using that as a way to tell you what I've been up to. So don't take it wrong if I talk about a little bit about myself or my company. It's not the promotion, but it's bringing out that experience which I'm bringing out from my own side, what I've been up to. And then there are a few tips and tricks which I will be sharing with you all. Hopefully you can take along and where can you get started from it. So why there is a lady in a wheelchair saying namaste to the God who controls the world, digital world. Let's call her Sally. And Sally is on wheelchair. She wants to come to the convention center like this and wants to book a wheelchair-friendly seats through companion card, which is a card used if you need a companion to come along with you and help you access event, for example. You go to ticketek.com to book it. If you and I in the room were booking it within 5 minutes or 3 minutes through Apple Pay, we could just very quickly pay it off and book it the seats which we like. But for Sally, there's a special line phone number which you have to call, assuming that she can make a call, because there could be a range of disability, not just the wheelchair bound, but there could be many other disabilities there. You make a phone call, and I did personally for my friend, 1 hour, 52 minutes wait, nobody answered. I gave up. Second call, 1 hour, 20 minutes, I gave up. Third call, 52 minutes, I gave up. And then there is a special email address which you can email to book your ticket, which we did. And it took 3 days, 4 days to respond and said, here's the PDF which you can fill it out with your credit card details, and assuming that the person can fill out the PDF and knows how to do it and has access to the computers and internets and everything, and requested the companion card which is required as a proof to book that seat. Please scan it and send it as a PDF as well. So attachments are required as well. And that entire process took 2 weeks to book the ticket. Now the funny thing is, for 3 other people which were trying, the tickets were not available anymore, and it was booked out because we were trying for 2 weeks to book the tickets and everything. So the entire process was not easy. Now, that's an example of digital exclusion, you can say, that, hey, making it easier for them. If you're bringing a tool, a booking system, you want to make this special persona users who find it difficult most easy as you can for compared to us, which we are able to do it, right? That should be the first thinking, that, hey, let's do some empathy mapping and think of these users which could find it difficult through us. But it's actually opposite. We're creating more barrier for them. Now, second example is Sally wants to renew her companion card through NDS, National Disability Services, which looks after that special companion card, but also looks after the parking permit. So you must have seen those wheelchair parking permit in the malls everywhere, right? And to park there, you need a special permit. That entire process is manual. It used to be manual, where you send out, you collect the forms, and you bring it back home, write down all the details you want to, fill out everything you need, and go to the doctors and specialists and GPs and others to collect all the evidence, and you submit all that paperwork to NDS office or government office, and they will review it and highlight in yellow some of the missing information and send you back. And again, you will review everything. Again, you send it back by post, everything. The entire process could take few months, 3 to 4 months. And then to issue a permit and to verify everything could take another few months. So before you get the parking permit issued, it's 6 months. And if you are temporarily disabled because you had an accident or some injury, forget about getting it. You'll be recovered by then, by the time you get the permit to use it and everything. One of the things we did is to make it a hybrid approach where back office could use tech and the doctors and the GPs and specialists could put online form submissions and everything so that the person who's on a wheelchair assuming can travel and can park, don't have to go around everywhere to collect all that information and send the forms and everything. But if the person can use online technology with web accessibility compliance forms and everything, then they can submit it online. If not, the parallel approach of manual submission is also there. And if they want to get some more information, they can send them digitally also as well as physically. And the entire process now can be reduced to 3 weeks or 2 weeks rather than a few months. And that has put in place in Western Australia, and it has helped the community quite greatly to make sure that they get the permits and renewal happens very quickly. And if it's a new applicant, it happens very quickly. Even if it's a temporarily disabled person, can also make use of that facility. So as you can see from these two examples, that how technology can make a difference in the lives of the people and where exclusion, inclusion can happen. Now, it's not just about having accessibility compliance services online, but also affordability is a big problem. Connectivity is a big problem. The skills are a big problem. And as we go along the journey today, I'll tell you some of this digital divide which is happening in our community. We think that we are the most prosperous country in the world, but actually we are a very digital poor country as well. And I'll tell you how we are leaving behind a lot of people which matters in our life. So I hope we are clear so far what some example of digital inclusion, exclusion. Yeah, okay, cool. Little bit about Illuminance Solution. So everything starts with diversity and inclusion. This company which we built, as you saw from the video, I came as international students and I was struggling to find a job. Being an international students, they expect me to drive Uber or do car wash or maybe work in a warehouse or Woolworth. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I actually have a talent, I have skills, and I can speak English. I'm healthy, I paid good fees, and I can, do something more than just the washing car. So I started my own business, wrote a CEO title, and started taking projects from day one. Along the journey, I met so many other people around there who were struggling and who were on the similar journey. And we started hiring people who were struggling, but they had a great skill to offer. And some of them were not from tech background, they're from other backgrounds, hospitality, some of them from mechanical engineers, some of them from art background. They might have done different courses, but they all had some transferable skill and desire to make a difference and do something. And we started hiring them. And then it became the most diverse organizations out there and received many award recognitions and others. But the idea was that it wasn't that we wanted to become the most diverse. The company was open to looking after the people who wants to do and prove themselves. And they just needed a chance. Now you provide them a probation period, you give them a bit of a training and services and support, but if they don't perform, you have to let them go. They don't pass the probation. Now, client doesn't pay just because you are diverse or you are disabled or you are young, old, LGBTQI+, or you are from a refugee background or you are migrant, international student. Doesn't matter, male, female. The client is paying you because you're solving the problem. But internally here, it's necessary that we have a diverse team so that we can serve the diverse community out there. And I'll give you some of the example of that how that diversity helped us. AvantCare, which is a product we designed, it's for disability and aged care sector. Some of the people in the room might not be from Australia. So NDIS, National Disability Insurance Scheme, which is designed like a Medicare, or in UK, which is a National Health Services for serving people with disabilities. And this system designed to help those service providers to onboard the new client, do the care planning, help them do scheduling and rostering, like Uberization of the care worker, go out and deliver services, have case notes, documents, report incidents or complaint management. And they need all the tools in their hand, care worker out in the field when they are looking after the people. And then back office needs to claim that money back from the government. And these are direct connections with the health NDIS portal where you can claim as a service provider. And there's a reporting around it, and there's a lot of data collections happening. So this entire system was built on Microsoft Dynamics 365, SharePoint, Microsoft Field Services, Power Platform, and Office 365 connection, and Microsoft Business Central, which is an ERP. Now we hired this gentleman who came as a volunteer from Visibility, which is a visually impaired disability service provider. And this gentleman had a 98% central vision lost. We asked, how can we make it easier for you to work here, and what are the tools and things required? And the one thing we implemented in the company is don't assume what you think they need. Ask them the question as soon as they start, that how we can make life here easier, what headphone you would like, what screen you may require, what chair you may need, what desk standing or sit down, and just let them decide which mouse, which keyboard, which PC, Mac, and make sure that they are comfortable in doing the job, and you give them the tools and the space and let them decide the desk they like, so they can feel comfortable, whether it's male, female, young, old, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. They all have a choice to make sure, because that's their workplace, right? They want to feel comfortable. So he started doing everything on his own to make sure that he can look after the system, he can work on the system. But what happened along the journey is the system became the most accessible for visually impaired people. And the Royal Society of Blind in South Australia implemented this system. And when we were surprised that why they chose us from outside WA, is because they said your system was most accessible. And we also hired people with visually impaired in our organization, not only serve them. And that became our first client outside WA. And it happened naturally because we had the diverse person who helped us build the systems and everything, right? Now, we were not trying, but you can see the indirect or direct example of how having somebody with the diverse background can help the system. Then I hired this lady who was doing PhD. She was from Yamajati background, Indigenous background from Western Australia. And her job was to help me do some research work. But along the journey, I learned that actually there is a lot of native title groups which signs mining agreements with mining companies, and they have this royalty coming through, and they need to manage the database of the indigenous communities members out, the different communities. It could be Yamajati people, Nyama people, Banjima people, Rab River, Kurumara people, and they need a CRM to manage that. But not only they need a CRM, they need to apply for the funding when the funding comes from mining companies for funeral, for education, for healthcare, and they need an app which they can. Now the communities, they have old phones, sometimes no phone, sometimes internet. They don't update the devices, they don't update the softwares and everything. And we needed to design something for them which is also culturally appropriate. So you had to use offline capabilities and make sure they can sync correctly, and they know how to attach the photographs of the evidence of the receipts and others. So it was quite a complex project. And we managed to build that app for them, and a back office services manager who can approve the funding applications. Now, before all the system came in place, the lawyer who makes the agreement and fights on behalf of the people with mining company will take lot of money. And when the money comes, the accountant, financial background people, CPA certified, they'll come and say, we'll manage that fund for you. And it costs them almost 40 cents a dollar to manage the fund. So almost half the fund goes to the people who are looking after the fund than the fund where it belongs to. But after this system came in place, it cost them 2 cents or 3 cents a dollar to manage the entire fund and systems and corporations, everything. So you can see how much economic benefit it came by deploying the system. And now the fund can be transferred through SMS notification, and financial automation is there. So as soon as the application comes, within few hours, you can actually approve, and then you can get it done in the same day. It doesn't have to make phone calls and emails and everything. So that's another example of how it made a difference in the lives of people out there. Now from here onwards, all the activities which I will mention and things I'm doing is not part of the commercial activity which I do. I don't do this for money. This is all free. And I'm talking about what I've been doing out in the community to make a difference, but I'm using my business as a way to put it back out there. And it's not commercial. I don't charge for any of those services. So before I go in there, 2019, we received a global award, inaugural award from Microsoft, which was first time. They looked for 3,300 partners around the world, and one partner became the Partner of the Year, global partner for our work in disability aged care sector. And that was a big deal. And at the time when this announcement came, I was in Adelaide. In the morning, I get a phone call that, congratulations, you won the award. How does it feel? And it's a reporter from Sydney Morning Herald, which is a big newspaper in East here. And I never had a sort of like a media that much experience before. So I said to him that, hey, it's great to win an award, but the non-for-profit sector, smaller one, can't afford the shit licenses by Microsoft, and it's not good. They don't have a good licensing model and everything, and I want to help a lot of smaller non-for-profits, but it's cost prohibitive, everything. So this award is good, but it won't help me for the sector I'm trying to help out and everything and all. And before I know, 6 hours later, there's an article in the media which is a clickbait, and managing director of Microsoft is on the front page there, and I am on TV, I'm on media, and I'm on the news, and it's just too much going on, and I didn't realize how big it is, and I get a call from Redmond in Microsoft office and say, hey dude, we just gave you an award, what the hell you are up to, in a nice way. And I said, but, I'm sorry, but it's true. He said, yeah, you are saying it's true. We are working on it. Just slow down, calm down. So I said, okay. And I got invited to go to Las Vegas in US and talk about my issues which I'm facing in Australia to help NFP sector, and how Salesforce has 10 free licenses, but not Microsoft. So I was lobbying as much as I can. And I had opportunity to meet Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. And also, I met another leader which is quite known, and he's a chairman of World Bank right now. And when I met him, he was a CEO and president of MasterCard, global CEO. And he worked quite a lot on gender diversity and gender pay gap and everything. And Satya, of course, everybody knows as a tech leader, leads with empathy and everything, and had a good meetings. And they launched 10 free licenses for Microsoft non-for-profit sector, but also they launched $5,000 credit for Azure consumption. And then it didn't stop there. The aged care sector in Australia was not part of the not-for-profit licensing because they're asset rich and everything. So senior services, aged care service provider. And they are now part of the non-for-profit licensing as well, which is a big impact it happened. So sometimes when you've been given award and recognitions and everything, you can use it for good and see it as a responsibility and live up to that. So every time I get an award, I actually get a neck pain and shoulder pain. And I feel that now it's like a trauma, that I have to do something and do something good with it and make sure that I don't take it easy. Whenever award or recognition, anything happens, you have to try and live up to that. It's almost like given to you as a challenge that, okay, you've been doing something, but now we are recognizing you need to do more. So award and recognitions are responsibility, not just the feel-good factor. WestTech Assemblage is what I launched in 2015. It's an annual event where researchers, academia, not-for-profit, government, private sectors, individuals, they all come together once a year. And I started talking about digital inclusion because startups co-working space and innovation nation, and everybody wants to collaborate, everybody wants to innovate, everybody wants blockchain, AR, VR, and everybody was talking about diversification. And I went on the opposite side, and I said, you know what? It's all good, technology, but we need to think about basics first. Connectivity issues, black spot out there in the remote areas. The computers are not accessible, affordable. The skills are not there. Many communities are left behind, and we cannot continue to be just going, sexy stuff like blockchain and AR, VR, and AI and everything, but we need to think of the people which we are leaving behind. And we started that event, and luckily I had access to the ballroom, which is the beautiful place in Governor House, and then I had 440 people attend the first event, and the previous premier and ministers and chief scientists, everybody came. It became a big event. But it took me 7 years and 3 different ministers and many policy advisors to minister, a lot of meetings, to convince them to launch first WA inclusion blueprint. And part of that blueprint, they looked at the affordability, accessibility, connectivities, and skill to make sure that all West Australian, whenever these government services are going online, are kept in mind, and those people who might have these challenges of accessing, affording technology could be part of that. And that blueprint launch happened 2 years ago, and that was a great outcome of WestTech Assemblage, and now that's alive and kicking. And now we moved our focus into local government. Local government are the front line in the community out there. They have library systems and community centers and everything. And each of these local councils, local government, has a disability access and inclusion policy. Now, where this policy came from is to allow people with wheelchair to have access to the ramp and the facilities and everything. But now we are advocating that they should include digital access and inclusion as a part of the disability access and inclusion plan. And that's the conference is happening, and it's a 10-year anniversary next year in February, which this conference will happen then in Western Australia. So now the state government has a digital inclusion blueprint, and local government is what we are working towards. We don't know how long, but WALGA is a WA Local Government Association. They are also agreeing that yes, this needs to happen, and one local council has started to think about that, so we're going to use them as an example. So this is another thing we are doing there in Western Australia. Then we launch accessible drone pilot training. And this is for, it's all free, by the way. This is not commercial activity. Just to be clear, not a product placement. This is community work. Drone training, which is people on wheelchair who play hockey, they play netball, and they can use drone modified controllers to work in surveying, in mining for safety, security, and healthcare, and they can use it for recreation facility, and they can have a self-employment through using ABN Australian business number, and they can have a certificate as a drone pilot on wheelchair. And this has been quite popular. It was Australia's first to be launched in Langley Park, which is a big, long park, and we made that into a helipad sort of thing, area and everything. City of Perth supported us with that as well. Then we launch digital literacy training for Indigenous community in remote areas. Now, there are many programs for youth in remote communities, but not many programs which are designed for all age group. If you are above the age of 40, 50, and you want to work and you get a chance to do some job or whatever, some of them didn't grow up with laptop, computer, and Excel, PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, so they need to learn, and they need to be given program and training. But a lot of focus on youth, but not focus on the mid-age and old age and everything. So we started launching this training in remote areas for all age group. And we use Notre Dame University, who has a campus in Broome, and other partners who have access to the equipments and facilities, so I can use their facilities to create these programs and support them. And I have few volunteers who believe in what we do, and they helped us, support us in this programs, and we have done more than 5,000 worth of training hours combined by all the volunteers and others over the many years, and this has been making a true difference out there in the community. Some of the Indigenous kids, they come from regional areas at University of Western Australia, Uni Hall, which is a residential facility, and they come and stay there on a scholarship, but they have to compete with local and international students, and they have to use learning management portal like Blackboard and SharePoints and Office 365 Teams and everything. And they don't know all these tools, and they have to focus on learning their subjects and everything. But imagine if you don't know all these tools and you are focusing on learning all the new knowledge gain and everything. So we bring them into our office, we put samosas and spring roll for them over the weekend, and we train them how to use basics of internets and SharePoints and Outlook, learning management portal and everything. And they go back to uni and they can continue to study like any other student. So they're digitally equipped and everything, right? So not fallen behind. Then in 2019, we launched cybersecurity training for seniors who were struggling. And as the pandemic happened, I was also a bit worried that what's going to happen to business. And I was following a few futuristic people, and they said that in terms of safety-wise in digital world, the seniors and the not-for-profit sector with the weakest link, because they have a low understanding of the scams and others and everything. So I thought seniors are going to be the biggest target. We need to do something about it. And in March, April, we launched cybersecurity training for seniors. And guess what happened? The same year, $65 million was lost by the senior in Australia on that first year. And the figure just kept rising and rising, and not-for-profit sector also good. Along the journey, we learned that there is actually some of the latest scams are happening. Their loved ones are dying in the retirement living or aged care, and they can't attend the funeral. So they have an online live funeral happening, and the scammers were sending them links to attend the live funerals, but they were actually taking their money away and everything and all. And there were a lot of great things were going on in terms of innovation by scammers, and we had to keep up to date to make sure that the seniors are aware of all the things that are happening in urgency. But now it's even gone worse, that AI is now creating a deep fake with the son or daughter's face and voice and everything, and they are scamming them. So this is, we are falling behind because of the AI scamming which is happening, and the more and more seniors are getting into this sort of trouble. So now in India, we have 65% population under the age of 35, which means it's the youngest nation in the world. And there's 2 young people available for 1 older person to train them. So all the seniors out there are highly digitally capable, and it's WhatsApp India, I call it. They are very good at ordering online, doing things online, and aware of everything, and they know what to not give away, what to give away and everything. And reason being, because young people are always there to support them. But in Australia, we are an aging nation, and our seniors are left alone. They're not given visits, and they've been, and so if their spouse died who was managing some of the online activities, then the left one is alone and not able to do anything on their own, and they never use that because there was a dependency on each other. So there's a lot of cases out there where seniors are actually struggling when it comes to accessing, whether it's banking, healthcare. There are many challenges out there, and we are an aging nation, and it's necessary that we support them and we try and help them. And some of you people in this room might have parents who might have been fallen victim of the scam or others and everything. So ongoing basis, we cannot leave them behind. And every time we're creating something new, online activity, make sure that you keep them in mind. Banksia Hill is like a detention center. It's a prison for kids. And there are kids out there who are fallen into bad side or bad company, and in there, some of them are there for a few years, some of them for temporarily. And we went in there to start a training program, allowing them to explore technology as a pathway, because they've been forced to work in constructions or retail or coffee shop when they come out in terms of rehabilitations and everything. But they are creative people, they're young people, and like all of us, they also want to be a part of technology. But the computers which are there in the school system, which is not a school actually, it's just a little room with paper and pen and everything, they are from some ex-government department which is refurbished computers put in there like keyboard, mouse, but inside there is nothing in there, paintbrush maybe. So we installed some amazing softwares and clip arts and 3D modeling pieces and video, audio editing pieces, and some technology out there. And guess what? These people were highly creative, and they really wanted to learn about 3D printing, AI, and many Python technology language, building an apps, building websites, very creative. And this gentleman, Dylan, he took my card when he was in there, and when he came out on parole, and he was not 18 yet, his parents picked him up, and the first thing he told his parents, he said, oh, the great thing happened when I was there is that I had this training, and some people came from outside to give us technology, understanding and training, and I want to work in technology, and here's the card which he was hiding in his shoes for a long time. And he took it out and he called me, and I said, come over, see me. And I said, like, I'll create a training program for you, an internship, but only thing I expect from you is to turn up. That's it. Turn up, okay? Consistently. He said, okay, I'll do that. And he did turn up for 3 months, and then we put him on a part-time role. Now he's full-time, and it's been 1 year. He passed his parole. He's free now, and he's 18 and a half, and he's got Microsoft Power Platform licensing, certifications and everything, and he's now building apps and changing his life around. He's got a salary. He's not school pass yet, but he's making good money, and tech has that ability to create a life and living and everything, and it's changing. And now he's an advocate out there helping others in a similar path, similar footwear, everything. And now we are trying to advocate that there should be internet in the prison. Of course, a wide internet, which means it can be safe and some content can be blocked out. But to get this program started, it took me 2.5 years almost to get into the prison. To get into the prison was the most hardest thing I've done in my life. We thought getting out was difficult, right? But getting in there to get the program started was not the easiest thing. Mahatma Gandhi has to be reminded all the time, every day, that you persistent, not give up, to get in the prison. Then, of course, you heard about WA Digital Inclusion Blueprint launch, which I mentioned before, and that happened 2022, and now we are working towards local government for digital disability access and inclusion policy. But let's come back to PC. So far, I told you all the activities which we've been doing, difference we are making out there, why it needs to be done, how the product or diversity can play a role. But personal computer, PC, right? It was designed to carry in your hand in suitcase, and if you look at all the advertisement, like everybody can have a PC in their hand, but it's not about physical, right, carrying laptop. It's actually personalizing for each individual. And that's where you guys come, or we guys, or all of us comes into picture, that it's software, isn't it? Which makes it personalized now. Of course, there are gaming controllers, and Microsoft and big guys are making amazing devices which can be accessed by different disabilities, everything. But the software needs to be make sure any online activities, apps, whether it's healthcare, retail, education, they all can be accessible and could be personalized for each individual need. And that's something we need to keep in mind, don't we? Yeah. Then it becomes truly PC. But let's look at the commercial side of it. You might be thinking, they are minority. They might be, why do we need to spend so much money or think about them? But let's look at the size of the communities which we are living behind, right? We have 4.2 million senior citizens and 35% are digitally excluded. So you're losing a huge market out there. We have 5.5 million people with disability, and 21% of them no internet access. Yeah, we have 7 million remote communities and no reliable digital access for them. There are prisoner communities, there's Indigenous community, there's low social economic status people. And if you look at all this combined, actually, it's a large market, isn't it? You could think about them, design product and services, and when you are making any product services out there, think that who you could be leaving behind in terms of commercially. But at the same time, there could be organizations who could come and take advantage of this community. And one example is Telstra. Telstra started selling devices and plants and everything to remote communities without their knowledge, that they were signing up for 24 months, 34 months contracts, and they were putting them under debt. And the communities were signing up everything without their knowledge. And Australian Consumer Council, they fined $50 million to Telstra a few years ago for unknowingly putting Indigenous community into the debt and everything and selling them everything. So there could be opposite can also happen where people can come in, take advantage of them and sell them services and everything and do that. So we have to be careful that we see them as a cash cow or we see them as the right thing to do to make sure that they are not left behind, yeah? Let's look at our profession. We are ICT profession, but like accountant, we don't have a code of conduct to follow, do we? The accountant has to, as a professional, they have a code of conduct. If you look at the Australian solicitors, they have a code of conduct to follow. And to keep their profession going, keep their license going, keep them practices, they have to follow that, and they have to practice that, and they have to pass the licenses and bar exams and others and everything. When it comes to our profession, we have code of conduct, or ACS, but you don't have to be a member there. You don't have to follow that. You don't have to sign up for that. And also, Information Technology Professional Association has the conduct. But it's not necessary, is it? So we are so privileged. We can just don't have to pass exam. We don't have to pass school. We don't have to go to uni. We can just learn Python and we can start creating stuff. How privileged we are. Amazing. But at the same time, if that power of learning, having access to internet, starting our own profession without degree and everything, we have opportunity to do even bigger and better compared to the big four who goes out there and say this, yes, they have code of conduct, but they also do a lot of shitty things out there, don't they? Yeah. But we don't have to follow to keep our profession going, but we can still focus on the last two, which I highlighted, is the social responsibility. And that's something I've been highlighting, that as an IT professional, what I have been doing out there in the community, what give back we've been doing. And each one of us can do and follow something and keep that in mind. Now, we were very fortunate during a pandemic, don't we, that we can continue to work and we can remotely do our job, although we were in lockdown quite a lot, but we have a work coming in all the time, and we were employable. So some gratitude in terms of life that, hey, if we are that fortunate and there's always going to be work for us, and we did made a huge difference in the lives of the people out there. We did help with COVID period in terms of keeping everything alive and keeping everything going and cloud consumption happen. We made sure that the COVID passes and the distribution of the vaccines and government services all sign up, and security services all can be used technology to make that happen, and education go online. But at the same time, a lot of schools were not able to go online. They didn't have devices. A lot of seniors were struggling. A lot of people who didn't have access to the internet and computer were struggling. But us as a professional, we had an opportunity to continue to work and make a difference. So the power was immense. A lot of people were relying on us, don't we? Yeah. But we made money too, and the big corporations made money too. So some gratitude is necessary to make sure that we use our power and opportunity and the abilities given to us to make a positive difference out there. Now, you might be thinking, okay, enough of your talk. Can you tell us what can we do? Well, where do we start? There are actually amazing frameworks out there. Which you can use. Microsoft Inclusive Design Toolkit, of course, I'm a Microsoft partner, but I'm not promoting them only. There is IBM there too. There is a Web Accessibility Compliance Tool, which most of you must have heard of. There are so many amazing toolkits and frameworks and things are put in place. And I'm going to share this slide with the links in there. So when you get the slide, you can click on it and you have the tools and frameworks and everything available for you. But it's not that difficult, actually. A lot of hard works are done for us already. You can actually use some of the amazing checkers like accessibility or Wave Lighthouse. And every time you create something online browser-based, you can very quickly click on it and it gives you a report on what accessibility compliance are there or not there, right? Life has been made easy for us if you really want to be inclusive in terms of everything we are creating. We just have to look at those tools available and start using their frameworks and familiarize ourselves. If you are interested in cultural and gender bias, there are tools available where you can actually go out there and look at guidelines, but also if you want to use some data which are inclusive data to train your models. Now I'm talking techie, which don't get me wrong if I use wrong terminology, because I don't know how you train your models and your softwares and everything, but I know that there is raw frameworks are available and data are available which you can use to be inclusive in anything and everything you are creating, and identify if there are any gender biases, identify if there is any cultural biases. Those tools are available for you to use. Inclusive AI, there is a fairness. If we really want to create the AI tools which looks after the people in need, and it's fair, you can start with the fairness check and what biases can be there in our data. And before you use those data to train, you can check those biases in there. Now, ethical AI, there's a lot of conversation on this side, and we are now focusing on which tool to use, how to use the tools and everything, but we are rushing towards everything in terms of adaptions. And there are a few sessions here which you'll learn from next few days, that today and tomorrow, that we don't need to rush. We don't need to be like big corporation out there thinking adaption, let's start using tool everything. We can step back a little bit and think and say, let's not just be part of the race, think if we are doing it right way. Yeah. Ask the right questions, and don't be afraid to ask questions even if you are screwing a big engine. It doesn't matter if you are at bottom or top or middle, you can still ask the right question before anybody's pushing those technology or AI out there into the community. There are a few other tools which you can use, library, and I thought there are techie people out there, so I need to put some GitHub and which they can start using out there, and give them some actual tool which they can use immediately in whether whether it's the multicultural language supports or if they need adaptability tools, some links and tools which for you to use. Now, UI people, they are the most important people I think out there in terms of how they create technology which can be acceptable and adaptable to everybody out there, and the design the way they make. UI is the most important thing in where I come from, is they are the one who are making the 2 years old child learn very quickly, and the 60 years or 70, 80 years old person can also learn very quickly and start adapting and using it. Yeah, and also different disabilities or language barrier, still with the visual look and feel, they can make them use the technology. So AI is very important. One of the example is Starlink of the product, which is beautifully designed. And this is not to promote the man, so don't worry about that. It's okay, I don't like him too, maybe if you don't like. But it's about the product. It's about the product which is so inclusive that remote communities benefits the most. And in case of emergency, Perth Hill, which is the local government there, they had a fire and emergency, and for more than 24 hours, phone lines, electricity, emergencies, everything was shut down, like complete blackout. Almost like unheard of that this can happen. And it did happen. So in case of emergency, you could be actually completely gone, can't get in touch with your children, your parents, your loved ones and neighbors and emergency services and everything. And a lot of great things can happen in terms of in 24 hours, what could go wrong without communications. And that did happen. And this product sometimes can help in case of emergency out there. And a great example of how connectivity can help us. Now, I want to spend some time in empathy mapping, which is necessary. Every time you start something, start with empathy mapping. Ask your team, whoever you are working with, that do we understand our persona? Do we understand our people? And I want to go back to the diversity and inclusion conversation. My friend Santiago, who was on wheelchair, I went on a shopping with him. And it was a new mall in Western Australia. To use a changing room, it wasn't possible for him with his scooters and everything, not big enough. And they had one which was boxes and it was used as a storage room. So he bought whatever clothes he could, went back home, assuming that he can afford to go back and forward with his big taxi because he needs a special taxi to get in there and everything. And try his clothes, come back to the mall, return whatever. So the entire shopping could take 2 days or 1 day. And it's not just you and I can just go into the room and buy whatever we like and get it out there, right? And first time I heard that how much challenges they face. Where at the same time, he invited me to play hockey with him. And I said, mate, I haven't played hockey before, or I don't know how to play hockey on wheelchair, and I don't even have a wheelchair. He said, no, don't worry. You can come and play hockey with us. We have a wheelchair, and it's all about using a controller and everything. It's easy for you. So I sat down, and it was moving too quickly, and I bumped it a few times here and there, and I learned how to play hockey with him. And for the first time in my life, I realized that actually I was thinking that I'm inclusive in terms of creating access for them in our office, giving them the table and chair and making accessible ramp and everything, that we are so inclusive. But until I sat on that wheelchair and until I played with him and lived the life he lives and go out shopping with him and experience some of the difficulties, experiences, how he goes about his daily routine, that's when I realized that what inclusivity means is that you are putting yourself into their shoes, being part of their environment, and you are learning the way they are learning and observing and things happening in their life. But on this side of it, we sit here and we think, yeah, we are inclusive, we know what it means. And diversity inclusion, I speak to a lot of people and they say, yeah, Nilesh, my mother from Vietnam, my father British, Scottish, I love chicken tikka masala, I'm very diverse. No, just by, I travel to Thailand and I'm diverse. No, that doesn't mean that you just because you love chicken tikka masala and your mother was born somewhere else and you traveled to Bali and Thailand, you became diverse. No, until you have been on the shoes of the people out there and you have experienced what they have experienced. And unless you have a child with a disability or parents who have been scammed or you have people in your life who have been left behind in the digital world, it's impossible to understand how they feel really, right? So it's necessary to understand the empathy mapping. And these tools should be used and framework should be used and everything. We have to learn to be in other people's shoes and not assume and have a growth mindset. Now we are actually one of the profession in the world, where we are actually the people who have an amazing growth mindset, which means we are continuously learning because tech is changing, isn't it? Yeah? Every day things are changing in our profession. We have to keep learning, keep learning. But we keep learning about the tools and technology, but what about learning on the people side out there? How the community is changing, what's happening in the community. We have to keep in mind all the great things happening out there in the community and how they can be left behind. And we want to empathize with them and not leave them behind. Generative AI, again, some great example of this AI could be in the Be My app. It started in Scandinavia, where a person with disability wants to get a help, can call anytime they're stuck, and somebody will pick up the phone and tell them what they're seeing, what they're looking at, what's happening. But now they're using AI that they may not need to call. If they're holding something in shopping mall and they want to know the ingredients, they can use the app and they can read out what the ingredients are there. And if they're seeing something, some person street, it can read out what's happening in that image and what's going on. Live translation can happen. So sometimes the technology and AI could create a great opportunity for us to incorporate it in a way that people who matters to us in our life and our community are not left behind and use this sort of product and update and learn from this. But you also can learn from some of the champions out there who are doing amazing work in diversity inclusion and digital inclusion. And these champions are out there who you can follow and learn from. And of course, you can connect me on LinkedIn and follow me. So I didn't put myself up there, but you can connect with me too, right? And where to from here? So I want to finish by coming back to the basics, really coming back to basics, and referring to that ethics and protocol and what we don't have to sign up for. But can we all sign up for one thing? If we, yeah? And if I can request all of us to stand up. Yeah, let's see what we can do here. Yeah, in the verge of AI, in a world of technology, only one thing we have to remember, that we are human. So let's look into each other's eyes for a second, remind ourselves, shake hand maybe, shake hand if you can, have a human touch, yeah? And if you feel comfortable, give each other a hug because you are human, it's okay. Give each other a hug, it's okay, yeah? Yeah? It's okay. The rise, 24,000 rise in internet search for AI girlfriend. Did you hear that? 24,000% rise in past few months in searching for AI girlfriend, robotic girlfriend. Now that's where we are heading. Isn't it sad? Who wants robotic girlfriend here? Oh, there are a few people hands up there. Give them a hug. Yeah, because that's where the world is heading. We are heading towards isolation. And in this room, we are the tech people, and we are creating the tech world. But we have to constantly remind ourselves, we are a community, we are human. If you feel strength shaking hand or giving hug, that means you need to give more hug and more shake hand. Yeah, because the tech is taking us somewhere where we shouldn't be. We need to just remind ourselves all the time that we are human, first of all. Yeah. That connection should not be left. And when we focus on our humanity, AI cannot be ahead of us. So that's my last message. Hope you enjoy what I presented, and I welcome your feedback, critical feedback. I welcome your good comments, good feedback, but also the feedback which I can do better next time and what I can learn from you. So as Stefan mentioned, please take your time, give us your feedback, tell us what you think. And I'm still learning. I'm not perfect. And first time presenting in Brisbane, so be easy on me, please. Yeah? Thank you, guys.